All right, everyone. So I met this lady who has, she's got one on the way, beautiful lady. She has kids already, and we were talking last week about homeschooling. I am a homeschool mom. Do I know everything? Not at all. Not even close. So I graduated early from high school. I was just smart enough to beat the system, basically. I knew how to get enough credits, how to skip, not skip, but how to pile on my um, study halls and take the classes I needed to take and have enough credits. Um, I have looked at my transcript that I got, and I did okay. I mean, I wasn't like the top person in my class, but I did good enough to graduate early. So from there, basically one book changed my life, and that was What to Expect When You're Expecting. So I talk about a forced abortion on my channel. I talk about how I didn't even know, with graduating early and grammar school, I didn't even understand the process of being pregnant and the what you go through until I read that book. And then becoming a Christian, I share my testimony about basically being naked before God, to realize that I was a sinner, to realize that, abortion has a lot of consequences with post-traumatic stress. And one of the first ones after feeling relief is I think even if you were what's the word, suppress it for about, mine was suppressed until I became pregnant for about 5 years or so. When you start to see the truth, what happens is you feel this guilt that comes on. Some of the guilt is real and some of it is false guilt. And you start to feel this, and women want to kill themselves when they realize the truth of abortion, but there is this guilt. And at that time, the guilt that I felt was overwhelming, and I just wanted to kill myself, basically. So I was pregnant though with my firstborn, and I feel he pretty much saved my life being pregnant with him. And I was in an apartment in Pennacook, and I remember the guilt after going to a pregnancy center that I had just kind of blurted out what happened, that I had an abortion, and she said God forgives as far as the east to the west. So I remember coming home and grappling with that, and I just couldn't forgive myself. And then I remember just crying and breaking down in front of God and just, taking all the blame and asking God to forgive me. And then realizing, it was pride, because if God says, to forgive, that he forgives you, then you are forgiven. So this is where it kind of all started, my journey with me. And then I started researching pregnancy with what to expect when you're pregnant. And of course, I didn't really think that I was that far along when he started kicking, because I wasn't fat, so to say, in my mind. I only gained 22 pounds with him. So that first step, I talk more about becoming a Christian and having more kids and standing up for my Christian values and standing against abortion. But what this is about is the homeschool stuff. So with that one book changing my life, I then realized as I went to church, and I had already worked very hard with graduating in high school, early, I realized that I could kind of use my brains to change my life. I could actually learn enough to change my life. So I started going to church, and mostly it was people that changed my life after that book. It was hanging around with certain people, learning what the Bible says, taking classes, taking MOPS, and relying on other people to help me. And then as I saw a lot of people homeschooling, I was like, oh my goodness, can you really homeschool? I've never heard of that. So I started reading books, and that's what really started changing my life. So I educated myself with a ton of books. I filled in a lot of gaps that I did have in school. And I'm just saying that you can turn your life around. And what I'm seeing now, as somebody who had finished homeschooling last year with my son, that is 29 years of pretty much homeschooling I have done. You can use homeschooling like I did to build your family. You can turn your life around by design. And that's kind of what I did. And now I'm going into hopefully helping other women learn to homeschool their kids. I did let this lady know if she needs help to give me a call to let me know. If anyone needs help, you know, you want just the bare bones of homeschooling, I will be there for you. I will reach out to you and help you get started. And what I'm thinking is, when we're seeing society collapse the way we are, with marriages falling apart, with schools teaching gender ideology, parents not having a right to have a say in their kids' education, we are seeing the families fall apart. And this is what we want to change. We want to build families. My kids, 3 of them, do walk with God. I have a couple, one who kind of off and on about God, and another one who kind of wishy-washy. So as I continue to build in their life, I'm also inviting others to come along, build in your kids' lives, continue to move forward, build Christian values. Nowadays, back when I actually homeschooled, not as many people were doing it, but nowadays you can learn pretty much anything online. The ladies who mentored me before me, they were the real pioneers. They were the ones that you could really go to jail if you homeschooled your kids. So if you want to reach out to me, message me, and I will help you with the nuts and bolts of homeschooling. All right, thanks for joining me, guys.